and welcome to the Abundant Life Center on this Sunday, September 15th, 2025.
Uh,
And what a beautiful rainy day it
yeah,
is.
there.
I don't remember the last time we had a nice day of rain, and the garden and the trees and the plants are just screaming with joy. So enjoy it because it's going to get hot again this week.
Yeah.
Okay. So first, I'd like to light the God candle as a symbol of the one power and presence in the universe known by many names, and the name you choose to use is welcome here. So let's all center ourselves with our opening statement. If you want to just close your eyes and put your feet on the floor and imagine a big old-fashioned reinforced chest in front of you. Grip the latch on the lock and gently open the lid. The chest is empty. Now picture all of your worries, all of your desires and frustrations, everything that keeps your mind busy. See yourself dropping them into the empty chest. Check once more. Did you forget anything? Close the lid, turn around, leaving the chest behind you. Admire the wonderful view of the sea from the cliff you're standing on. Open your eyes. You are fully present and relaxed. And with that, we will share our beliefs. Divine love is the source from which all of life flows. The direct experience of that ultimate source is available to all. All life is a unique expression of the divine to be revered. We co-create our world with the ultimate source and each other through consciousness. There is truth and wisdom in all spiritual paths. We choose the path of love. Okay, and now our opening song is One Power by Daniel Namod. Wow, what a powerful, beautiful message. Very timely. We need to all remember that. And so this morning, we are happy to welcome our own Eric England as our facilitator, and he's chosen a very interesting topic. What is surrender? So we'll be going into a guided meditation, and then Eric will lead us in our discussion. So thank you.
Begin by sitting or laying down in a quiet space. Let your hands rest comfortably, your eyes close gently, and your breath begin to soften. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose and gently exhale through your mouth. Let's do that again. Inhale deeply, hold, and exhale slowly. Allow your body to soften with each breath. Feel the weight of your body supported by the ground. Let gravity hold you. You are safe here. Let go of everything that came before this moment. Let go of everything you think you need to do after. there's only now. Only this breath, only this space, only this stillness. Now gently bring your awareness to your heart. Begin to imagine a soft light glowing there, warm, open and tender. Repeat silently to yourself, I surrender. I surrender. What does that mean to you in this moment? Not giving up, but letting go. Letting go of trying to control. Letting go of needing to know. Now ask gently within, what am I holding on right now that I can release? Maybe it's a worry. Maybe it's a tight grip on how something must turn out. Maybe it's a fear of the unknown. Whatever it is, breathe into it. On your inhale, feel it arise. On your exhale, let it go. Inhale, allow. Exhale, release. You're not alone. You don't need to carry this all by yourself. Trust that something wiser, something deeper is holding you. As you continue to breathe gently, silently repeat these words. I trust the unfolding of my life. I do not need to control everything. I surrender my fear. I surrender my resistance. I surrender to the flow of life. Breathe these words in. Let them settle into your being like seeds. Notice how your body feels now. Is there more spaciousness? More ease in your heart? Allow yourself to feel supported, as if you are floating on water. No need to swim, no need to fight, just resting, being, allowing. Take one more slow, deep breath. And as you exhale, gently whisper to yourself, I trust life. I trust myself. I surrender. Begin to bring awareness back to your body. Wiggle your fingers, your toes. Maybe smile softly. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes. Carry this inner stillness with you into the rest of your day.
So with that, Eric will lead us into our discussion on what is surrender.
All right, my topic today is about surrendering. For me, there are three words that are important in my spiritual seeker role: is forgiveness, gratitude, and surrender. Forgiveness is important because if you don't forgive yourself or forgive everybody, I mean, the people you interact with, where you may have some experience that you don't like, you carry that forward. I mean, all these things that you remember in time, because time is not relevant. The past does not really exist. It's just a memory. You bring them back into the present. So you always reactivate and you always are stuck with your stories that you bring into your present. So you need to be able to let them go and you need to be able to forgive. You need to forgive yourself and you need to be able to forgive others. Even sometimes if you forgive them, if you don't, you can't do it personally. Sometimes you can do it personally, but often you can't. You forgive them and you forgive yourself and let this energy go, let it flow, give it back to the grace of God. Gratitude is another important role that we need to take uh, as a practice. Gratitude gives you more of what you already received. It's this abundance that exists in our lives that is always there. I mean, I'm always amazed when I cut a tomato open, right? It's one tomato, and there are, I don't know, 20, 30 seeds. But on the stalk of tomato, there are, I don't know, 100 maybe, in the life of the tomato stock. And so you imagine the abundance that is there. If you look at it, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's in yourself too. And this gratitude is actually what creates this abundance. And so this pushes you forward or takes you forward. And then surrender. Uh, it's for me, it's one of the more difficult concepts to be able to sustain. Forgiveness and gratitude seems to be elements in time. You're not grateful for the whole day, or you're not forgiving the whole day. It's kind of an element that you do at one point in time. But surrender is something that you want to practice the whole day. You want to be in a state of surrender. You want to be in a state of presence where you can let go and let these things that you're attracting really come into your life. Um, and this has a lot to do with where we put our, how do you say, where we give our power. Obviously, some people who are very intellectual uh, will use their mind very strongly and will always refer to their logic, to what is right, wrong, what they see at the moment, and can analyze. and then you have obviously people who live from their heart, and the feeling of something is much more important than the logic. Maybe a feeling goes against the logic of another person. Uh, and obviously you have another component, each one of us has that, is an ego. And the ego is actually your stories that you saved that tell you, hey, if you do this and this, you're going to have this trouble. So don't do that. And even your conscious mind cannot go against the ego, because the ego in the subconscious mind will reject what you want to do. It will tell you, you can have an argument with your ego and say, hey, I want to do that. And your ego say, well, this happened last time. And then as the logical mind says, oh, yeah, you're right. So we're not going to do that. So you are stuck with your ego uh, in your beliefs, in your stories, that doesn't allow you to go beyond certain experiences, I would say. And and then you have your soul. Your soul is actually the inhabitant of your body who came into your body to experience something. Your body is a vehicle for your soul. It's here to experience certain energies. Okay, let's say the soul is here to, at one point, tells you, hey, I want to experience the thrill of height. Okay, so maybe as a body and an ego, you say, okay, let's take the sidewalk here, and I'm going to jump from the sidewalk. And once you're comfortable enough to jump from the sidewalk, maybe you go from a chair or a bench. Okay, and if you're more comfortable yet, you go maybe onto the 10 meter board on your swimming pool. And maybe even if you're more courageous, okay, you do what the Austrian guy did. He went up with a rocket and jumped from the rocket back to Earth, right? Which was a kind of a crazy experience. But all this comes back to the thrill or the experience that the soul wants to have. And obviously, it comes in many, many forms. The question is, do you listen to your soul of what the soul wants to experience? In reality, we can't really have multiple masters. We have one master. The question is, which master do we choose? We have multiple in front of us, but we need to choose one. The most obvious that we have carried through our whole life is our ego. It's always there. It's loud, and it gives us direction, and it stops us to do things that maybe we shouldn't do, or maybe we want to do and experience, and we should do, against the ego's how do you say, rejection. So at one point we need to come to the decision of who we want to be a master to. And it took me really all the year to be 68 around, about 2 years ago, where I followed a guru from India on YouTube, and was had a very clear statement. And for her, it was the body mind is actually the instrument of the soul, and you wanna how do you say, surrender to your soul, and essentially listen to the soul of what the soul wants to experience and follow this experience. The difficulty obviously is always, well, you still have a filter. The soul tells you something and you can say, I'm not going to do it. So this is also an issue of surrendering. If you ask your soul to give you direction and you don't follow this direction, well, guess what? You're not going to get direction, either accurate or any direction at all, from your soul. And there is obviously a certain competition with the ego too. The ego is not just going to let you do and say, "Oh, you're a second-class citizen now," and forget about my existence. So the ego is going to react, and it can be pretty insidious in some cases too, where suddenly you notice that your ego jumps in a certain situation. And one thing that I learned from uh, Edgar Tolle, who was actually a very depressed person before he got into his old teachings, is you can observe all these elements that are part of your life. You can observe your mind, you can observe your body, you can observe your ego. And then you need to ask yourself, who are you really? Okay, who is this element that can observe all that? Once you can differentiate between these different components that are all part of you, who are you? And the way that he applied that is if he had a thought that came to mind that he could not accept or felt threatened, uh, he would ask, who is speaking? And I've done this exercise a few times too. And what's interesting is that the energy that came forth when you ask this question retracts. Suddenly it goes back and it disappears. Okay, it's like an eel coming out of a hole in the ocean, and when you observe it, it's like it's going back. And so you can control this in yourself by applying just this simple technique, which is very powerful. Now, my I'm interested to hear from you. What is surrender in your terms and your experiences, and who you want to surrender to, or if you're even conscious that you're surrendering to a master that you have in yourself in one way or another. Um, so I'd like to open this discussion now and let you speak up. Laurel, are you muted?
Unmute. There you go.
Sorry, sorry to be late. I had some electronics difficulty, but it seems like this is a question we often battle with, and I've had that experience quite often of like, okay, where's this coming from? I want to know which direction to go, and it usually I'm kind of stymied. It's like silence. And then whatever it is kind of passes, the moment passes, and I'm just kind of feeling like I didn't get an answer and I don't know any more than I knew before. And I'm very much interested in following the soul's path. That seems most urgent to me. So that's my experience with it.
Yeah, it's to receive answers, often reflecting inside. Okay, let's say you have a communication with your soul, and obviously energetically your soul communicates with you, and you can ask the soul to give you direction on your questions. For instance, you ask a question instead of getting a full answers, and some people get full answers, but instead of getting a full answers, you could get a yes or no. The question is only how you define this yes or no, and it could be, I don't know, a feeling on your right cheek for yes and a feeling on your left cheek for no. And if you start observing or even telling your soul this is how you want to communicate, you pay attention, you will start noticing that this is happening. Okay, it doesn't happen just like it may happen just immediately, but it may also take some time, some practice, some just reflection or retrospection to feel that, to pay attention to your body and listen for these kind of or feel these kind of signals. I personally do it with my eye. I can feel when my agreement is that if it's a no, it's a feeling of my eye going up, and if it's a yes, it's a feeling of my eye going towards the horizontal. Uh, and it's only a feeling. It's not like my eye jumping up or left. It's just a feeling that he wants to pull there.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
So I can always ask a question and get an answer. There's a yes, no answer to that. Now, am I always right? Well, what does right mean? Right?
Yeah.
It may be right for your immediate circumstances, and that's good enough.
Hmm. Hmm.
So you can try to use that, Laurel, as a way to practice that. And you already have the sensitivity to see that there's somebody talking. So you're already an observer, and you observe this talker and say, something is not right. Right? So now if you start identifying where it's coming from,
And I mean, that added aspect is we live in such a fast-paced society that there doesn't seem to be a lot of time for thought. You know, you might have like a few seconds there to concentrate, have some silence, figure it out. But it's like life is always happening around you. And I think I'm going to try the face or the eye technique uh, to help myself because I get very overwhelmed with everything going on around me. So I'm going to try that. I'm going to try it.
yeah, Ananda.
Well, I first have to get a little joke in here. Seems like a cheeky way to deal with a problem.
Sure.
But on uh, a more contemplative plane, a moment ago you referred to you as, whatever this executive in relationship to the soul, but I thought earlier the soul was the part of you that is, eternal. I don't, it is so tricky to give authority to promptings. I'm just like worried about. I mean, I know that spirit does move us sometimes, but sometimes we think spirit's moving us and it's not spirit. It's I guess the tapping on the face might be useful, but uh, it's it's really hard to rely on it, I think.
It's
Yeah, well, I agree with that, and it's through practice. I mean, truly, spirituality is an experiential aspect of life. It's not knowing. You can read 1,000 books and still not be about spirituality and still not be spiritual because it's experiential. You have to go yourself into yourself and feel it. I mean, if you do that, you suddenly see the universe. The universe is actually into you because I don't know if you realize, but we're fractals. You know what a fractal is, right?
Well, I know I'm not sure I know the dictionary definition, but it's something that has a repetitive uh, image inside itself. It where it you know
That's exactly true. They do that. I mean, the most obvious way that it was shown is with lasers, where you can create a fractal, and they do that, and a picture also, if you want, and you can cut this picture, and the full picture is still in every part of that.
yes, right.
Okay, that means the universe is in every part of you, in every cell, in every atom. the information is there. We don't have to logically understand it. This is just how the math works, okay? But it is there. So you go inside, everything that exists, all the people, everything is inside of you. You can access it. You can access this information willingly. So now you can say, well, where is it coming from? Well, it's coming from everywhere in some ways, right? So now you need to figure out, okay, my neighbor here is not happy with me. Okay, do I feel his energy? Could be, could easily be, or I don't know. It can be anything. So you need to start trying, not spending time making, how do you say, a master thesis about it, but just trying to feel into it and say, where is it coming from? Can you identify sometimes the experience where it's coming from between your body, your mind, your ego, your soul? Can you feel these differences? Do you feel like you have one of these masters that is more powerful than the other ones?
It seems um, it I guess it just seems presumptuous. It just seems it just seems like another way that the ego entraps us.
Let me ask a quick question. Who is saying that? You can ask yourself that right now.
Yeah,
Who
there you
is saying that?
right.
What answer do you get? That statement, isn't it?
That's exactly it. Who is saying it?
I think it might be the ego, my opinion.
Oh, sure. That's always possible and likely, but I mean, I do not disagree that there are promptings from spirit that come to us. That is true. That happens. And to be open to them, hopeful that they will increase in frequency and power, yes. And there are a lot of ways that the ego dances around in other people's clothes.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I mean, if you don't differentiate, it's a whole sea of energy, right? I mean, it's just a sea of energy. We are a sea of energy. That's just how it is. I mean, the people who are clairvoyant, they can see your light. They can see what color emanates from your body. Okay, we have a friend in Syracuse who can see that, and he'll tell you, yeah, you're not in a good day today, aren't you? But so the differentiation has only to do with a vibration, right? It has to do with the body has a certain vibration, the mind has a certain vibration, the ego has a certain vibration, the soul has a vibration, and these vibrations sometimes are strong, okay, or they are very dimmed. And the soul has a dimmed vibration. Why? Because it doesn't want to impose itself. You have free will. You have free will. Everything that you decide is up to you to decide. There is only if you are on a path where you have certain mission, because you don't come to as a soul, you don't come into a body just to be, okay, it's Club Med, guys. Sometimes maybe it is. Maybe you have a Club Med life, and that's great. Okay. But sometimes you don't have a Club Med life, and you have some assignments. And if you get along into your life, okay, where you don't progress on these assignments, well, maybe at the beginning comes a 2x2, right? And then maybe a little bit harder, the 4x4, and then the 6x6 over your head. There are people who died and came back to life, and you know that from NDEs, right? I'm not NDEs, from near-death experiences, yeah, where people come back to life. I mean, they are off, clinically dead, but they have an experience in the spiritual realm, and they come back, and they come back because they haven't accomplished their mission yet. Doesn't have to be death. It could be, I don't know, it could be a bankruptcy. It could be a divorce. It could be anything, a physical condition. It could be anything that changes the course of your life. It often does. Often it's a physical ailment suddenly that says, I need to do something else. I need to do something different, and changes the trajectory of your life. Okay. So feeling this helps you sensing the direction of your life. And you can ask Spirit, am I on my path? And if you feel the answer is no, then you need to go inside and try to figure out why not. And what is it that brings me back onto my path? Well,
Well, I just been,
I saw your hand.
I, yeah, I guess I'm on here.
Yep.
I, every day I try to walk with my dog. I walk a mile on my same route every day, except when I'm lazy. But I'm mostly every day I walk. Well, when I get to that curb, I stop. I try to remember now, don't get too dreamy here, because we got some safety things to think about. I got to protect myself. I got to protect my dog. I want to meet people, but I want to be sure that I'm able to return alive, and my dog too, and without being hurt. And so that's an intention I have about getting ready for the walk. Um, and then I go, I don't know, I just walk. And unexpected things happen all the time. Somebody pops out of the house, and I didn't know they were there, and here we are, engaged in something. Or another dog runs out, and I have to grab my dog and get him up my arms, because I'm not sure, unless the dog is on a chain or something where they can keep him apart till they get to know each other. I got a challenge to work with here. But every time that I meet somebody, I still try to make a transaction with them. Something simple. I'm okay, you're okay. I play that game, and I can't tell you now what I'll do, but I know my sense tells me what to do when the time comes. And then I go on my walk. I kind of fulfilled a couple of things right there that satisfy me a lot. I protected my dog, and I made love to somebody, simple as that. Good morning, good morning, you know, nice weather. Yeah, I don't know, it's going to get a little hotter today. Yeah, that's right. We got to be watching ourselves. Goodbye. A transaction. And I do this with lots of people. And I encounter lots of unsuspected things on the way. Cars driving by at a hell of a speed, and I got to make sure the dog doesn't, especially the ones that make noise. Sometimes I'm careful if my leash isn't tight. He'll jump out and try to grab the tire of the goddamn car going by, and and I have to be prepared for that. When I get home, I feel pretty satisfied most of the time, unless I've had an accident or fallen or something. I it's like I've fulfilled something important today. I don't know if this helps any, but I don't think in terms of ego and all that stuff. I try to get as much out of my experiences as that I milk as much as I can out of them. And
You see, Paul,
that's good enough for me.
yeah, what's interesting, what you explained to us is that during this half an hour or whatever it is you do your walk or hour, you are in many different states, right?
Yes.
You can be in a meditative state in your heart, just walking your dog, not interacting with anybody.
Yes.
And then suddenly a car comes and now you need to pay attention. So your subconscious kicks in or your ego kicks in.
Yes.
And then you talk with somebody and your conscious mind, how do you say, you jump into your conscious mind. We do that all day long, all the time, changing state, okay? The question is, can we, when we hold a state, when we hold presence, can we be in the states that keeps us in this present? If you're always distracted with other things, we have a hard time to stay in this present moment. But if we create situation, and I think as we get older, we have this opportunity to have more time for ourselves. We're less distracted and can do this internal work, which has to do with moving on our path that we're here to accomplish. And
well, you're right. I find myself in more than one state.
oh yeah,
in that.
Yeah.
But I always have to go back to being safe.
Oh yeah, your
That's
ego
right.
is always there. Your ego is never
And
going
I instinctively know what that is if I'm alert, if I pay attention. I can't find. I don't dare to try go ahead and just dream along when I'm on this walk, especially with my dog.
Yeah.
But I get a lot out of it. Interaction with people, new things I see happening in the area, my dog interacting with something, all kinds of different experiences. And usually they're all pretty good unless I fall down and scratch myself or hit myself or something.
One of the difficulties that we all going to have is that you see what Paul and I explained, or Ananda explained, it's all personal vibrations. I cannot communicate or explain to you what this vibration is because I'm in a state of being, and this is what I exult in this state of being. And the same for Nanda and the same for Paul. So the exchange of experiences at this level is very difficult, and it's difficult to relate to because you being what you are and you experience is unique to what you do. It's not transmissible. The only thing that comes out of that is energies that you put back into everything else, into everybody. When you interact with somebody on your way, on your walk, you exchange energy, and you say it's a transaction. That's very true. It's an exchange of energy.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Hmm. I keep thinking back about my life. I don't think I consciously separate all these entities within myself. And I feel like I've had a really good life, but I had a really good teacher as a child, and that was my dad. He wasn't home a lot, but when he was a powerful presence, and a guide. And he instilled in our family every time we left the house, use your head, think before you act, use common sense. And that comes to mind all the time. And I look at the world around me and I see people that I judge to not be using common sense. They just do stupid things, in my opinion. So I guess that's what guides me and the what did you call it? The power or the presence that I look to is what I consider common sense. And I guess that comes from the ego because I've learned through my 75 years what works and what doesn't work for me. Um, but I once went to a psychic at a fair, and I don't remember anything else she said for the half hour reading and whatever it was. It's the only experience I've ever had. But she said that I have, what did she call it? Well, the way she described it is I have a protecting presence around me at all times. And I could walk down the street and a piano could fall out of a window and it would miss me. And I've thought of that over the last 40 years also, that I don't worry. I just live my life and do what feels right based on my past experience, that things that have worked. I try not to do things that didn't work. So I guess I'm not listening to my soul, but my ego, but it's worked for me so far.
Yeah. And maybe that's okay. The question is that your path? And it may very well be. There's nothing wrong with it.
I'm
Yeah.
certainly happy.
Yeah. Well, actually, I would say that's a great, how do you say, a metric. If you're happy with what you do with your life and in your interaction with people and so on, then you're on your path.
Hmm.
If you're not happy with your life, probably you're not on your path.
Hmm.
Well, there is a goal that I seem to have in my daily life, and that is to find love.
Yeah.
It's love thy neighbor and or love myself, just pay attention to me.
That's the most important relationship is the
So,
relationship with yourself.
so I I do lots of sloppy things all day, but I still behind all of that, I'm still looking for opportunities of connection and love
Yeah.
and with even with myself.
So, Paul, I'm curious, when um Charlotte was around and your life was with her, do you think you had that same focus, or has that come out of being, without other people living in your space?
Well, I had to kind of psychoanalyze Charlotte to see what state she was in. So no, it took me more work when she was there too, and I may not have. I don't know if I didn't find as much external love as I when I was with her because sometimes we were combative, sometimes we were very cooperative. Sometimes we were just walking around and not realizing that both of us were there. Uh, and a lot of different states. Uh, when we were arguing, I mean, then everything was all tuned up, ready to get my lick in. I don't know if that answered or not, but it
Yeah,
was an
yeah.
interesting time. I'm glad I had those years, but I can remember lots of times I was ready to throttle her. I, I'll tell you one time that I was I was driving up on the what's the tall bridge over in Portland over the river?
Fremont.
Yeah, over the Fremont Bridge, and we were late for an appointment. And she said, "Hurry up, Paul, hurry up." And I said, "Shut up. I'm going to get there when I get there, and I'm not going to take a risk." And I don't care. We got it. The kids are waiting for us, and I don't want them to forget about us. And I don't know. She just was yakking on, and I had the instinct to turn that goddamn thing off and drive it and jump it in the river. Now I'll tell you that it was it was kind of instantaneous, so I never got my hand moving on the wheel. But I I was so pissed that I was ready to do that, and I still think of that today. How could I ever get to that state? But I did.
Hmm.
And I'm glad that I decided to keep driving straight down the highway.
Yeah, you wouldn't be here otherwise.
Yeah,
But that's where your ego kicked in.
yeah.
Yeah. Carol and Arlene, do you have anything you want to add to it?
No.
It is. What I do, what I think and what I feel is physical in my body. And it's kind of like the first thing I think of is, what do I need? Am I hungry? Do I want some coffee? Do I want this or that? Did I have my breakfast? No, I want some breakfast. Well, what do I want for breakfast? So I think of my body and my personal safety and what do I want? And then I think about how am I going to get what I want? And sometimes it's with smiling or asking somebody to help me do something, or there's steps I got to take to getting what I want and what I need. And sometimes what I ask for is like the third eye thing, like it's like, oh, and I have to go inside and do a different kind of level of what do I need, and sometimes I have a hard time getting there, and it's because I'm hungry or because I'm tired or because I don't feel safe. So I got to do whatever I got to do first to take care of my physical needs, and then go into what are my emotional needs and what do I need to do. Julianne and Mary came over yesterday, and it was quite an odd experience for me because I don't have a lot of company, and each one of them were in a different space. And so I have to think about, well, what do they need? And can I co-facilitate with them what they need? And ultimately, when the visit was complete, Julianne just got up and walked out the door. She didn't say, well, I think I'm going to leave yet. I think I'm going to go. Thanks for whatever. Or, she just kind of got up and went out. And it was this odd thing of feeling like unplugged. And what am I going to do with that? Well, I decided not to do anything that was like her thing and whatever. And I could do what I wanted to do with that. So, so it was like I do that thinking of like, what do I want and what do I need, and what's immediate, and my personal safety is always most immediate. And am I tired and am I hungry, or do I need to go to the bathroom, or do I need to get a Kleenex, or what? Linda thinks that's really funny. What's that funny about?
Oh, Ananda's noticing his blanket matches his shirt. I apologize.
Well, it's
So he was cold. Talk about physical needs. He was cold.
And it's like, what's happening right here around me, and what do I want and what do I need? And maybe I was talking too much. Maybe I was this. Maybe I was that. Oh well.
But I think what you're pointing out to is very important. One situation, and you can have different reaction to it. And if you are in your heart, you just accept it and you move on, right? It's her thing. It's not your. If you're in your ego, you get all pissed off about the fact that you just walked up and didn't respect you and whatever. But it's her thing. And we always have a choice. The question is, who do we give the power to when we have this choice, right?
Who's
Nanda, what? Put some words.
oh who
Whatever.
is this
What,
chooser? I mean, I just like it.
you're fighting it, huh, Ananda?
No. It is such a complacent assumption that there's this all-seeing, all-knowing, great thing that animates us, and I don't think it exists.
I don't either.
What does exist? Am I
I don't
hungry? Am I
know.
tired? What do I need?
I think that it just seems to me that our consciousness is a concocted thing that our brains got complicated enough that we can evaluate the future, the past, potentialities, limitations, and make somewhat effective decisions based on it. And then it just goes off and spins all these gossamer dreams about, you know, our importance. We're not. We're not that important. It's just sorry.
No,
Well, we are
that's
and we're
fine.
not.
That's fine. It's actually a good. It's a good thing that you bring it up. I mean, we definitely don't think all the same way, and that's okay. It's just that the thought is what creates, right?
Right.
So you say
Agreed. For sure.
our brain grew to what it is. You know what? It will keep growing. Now we can ask, why is it keeping growing, or would it keep growing? Because we keep thinking it. Can we be more intelligent, right? Well, guess what? It's going to happen because we keep thinking it.
And part of being more intelligent is being kinder and more conscientious and all the so-called fruits of the spirit.
Mhm.
That is being more intelligent, I think. But I don't think it implies that there is this grand evolution through billions of years that this little spark of meanness experiences. I just can't believe that. I'm sorry. Other people do, but I can't.
Well, and we don't all believe it all the time, Ananda.
That's true.
Yeah, that's what saves you.
I don't think we're all that deluded. We probably all have our moments of doubt. But I'm glad you bring it up because it's like kind of like an elephant in the room, you know, that it certainly could be the case. None of us know for sure. None of us know,
It could be the case.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, Carol, no?
Well, I'm just enjoying the trouble we're having with putting words to the things we're feeling.
Very good point. That's to my point is that I cannot explain what I feel. As I said before, it's my energy, it's my experience. It just I can't even explain you the method because my method change. They're not fixed. I pull from wherever I feel like, oh, okay, that's right. Uh, that feels right now. So I pull from there. So I can't put that in a book and say, oh, if you do this, that's the other thing. No, because this is not even how it works. You gotta go inside and experience and feel it.
You're right.
That's the key.
And for me, a big part of that is figuring out what do I want, what do I need, and how am I going to get it? Am I going to smile at you and do this thing? What am I going to say? How
You
am I
do a
going to
wonderful job,
behave?
Arlene. I'm
Am I
always
gonna
ready to
am I
help
going
you.
to offer you cookies? You know, what am I going to
Borscht
do to
works.
get what I need? At first, it depends on what it is I need and what do I need, what do I want, and then I got to figure out how to get that.
Yeah. That's part of the game too. I mean, that's what we call ourselves the co-creators, right? We create also.
So you haven't said anything.
I don't know. I'm just contemplating it all and,
Yeah.
looking at the decisions that I've been, feeling that the one example for myself that I've been playing with these techniques is in my business last month, it just like, wow, all these people were showing up out of the woodwork to join my team, which is most unusual. And they also have this promotion. You can earn a trip to Hawaii, but you can't do it alone. Your team has to, bring in new team members too and such and activity. So last month I was feeling kind of like, oh gosh, we're kind of on a roll here. Should I reach out well, I kind of thought I would reach out to the team members and see, if they had ideas of involvement in the community or wanted to work together towards this. And now this month, my mind is going, oh, how would I want to do that? Oh, so, I'm looking at those parts of the mind, which is which, what's what. Yeah. Uh-huh.
I did this exercise too. I went through my whole life and just looked at the different things that happened. Not that were important, just they could be irrelevant little things, right? And then you say, holy moly, it's like a trail. It's like a path that somebody put in there that I'm just walking on because these things just tie together. Now, most of the people would say, well, it's coincidence. Yeah, sure, you can say that. But at the end of the day, if you look at the chances that these coincidences happened in a chain of events, it's kind of tough to believe that it's only coincidence.
So give me an example. I'm trying to envision what you're.
Well, I mean, just as a small example, I mean, Kay is a part of this coincidence. Okay, I was when I was young, I thought, well, I should go to Poland because they have beautiful girls there, and maybe I'll find a girl in Poland. Well, I never went to Poland. And I thought, well, maybe I go to Australia. I have an older girlfriend, I mean, an older previous girlfriend who was there living for a while. Maybe I can go and visit there. But then I thought, why would I just go to Australia directly? I wouldn't see anything else but Australia. So I thought, well, maybe I can go through Central America. I go to Mexico and travel down, and then from Lima, I take an airplane to South America. So I would not to Australia. So I thought, well, that I would have a lot of experiences going through that on my path to Australia. Well, on my path, I had different experiences that were essentially ready to stop my trip. One of them was I was in Guatemala, And I was in a bar with a bunch of people, travelers, and so on. We were around a round table, and I had my camera bag where I had half of the money or traveler's checks that I had in there, and on another half of it I had sewn into my pants. Okay, well, I got a little drunk and forgot my camera bag. Okay, well, guess what? I mean, in a country like this kind of stuff disappears. Next morning, I thought there's something missing. I realized I didn't have my camera bag, and then uh, I went back to the bar and said, "Hey, I'm missing my camera bag. I must have left here the night last night." And the guy said, "Well, I don't know. I can look, but I'm not sure." And then I threatened him. I said, "Look, I know what's going on. They were doing black market, how do you say, money trade." And I said, I know what's going on. If this camera bag is not on here when I come back at 6 tonight, I'll go to the police. I went back. My camera bag was there. Not one piece missing. Not $1 missing in this camera bag. Okay. Then I went to Panama, and I traveled into Panama City on the back of a potato truck. I can tell you, it wasn't very comfortable. The guy dropped me off at 5 o'clock or 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning in one of the worst part of Panama City. Okay. And I didn't know where I was going. I was trying to get out of there. And there's a guy with suit and tie who came walking to me and said, "You don't belong here." So he walked me out of this area into a safe area. Okay. And then you keep adding these things. There are more, but you keep adding these things and say, "Holy moly, why do these things happen?" You could say, well, it's a coincidence, but who was this guy who came out of nowhere in a suit and tie and essentially took me out of a bad area? Okay. I had, if I didn't have a mission, quote, quote, I may never have made it to Ecuador to meet Kay. All right. So these things needed to happen, and they did happen. And there are more, but I think I'll leave it there.
Okay.
Well, I think I have had a life like that, Eric, where things just happened and I could take advantage of them.
Yeah.
And because I was just reviewing my career, and in school I was told to be an architect, a scientist, or an engineer. And 1958, those words were not in my worldview. Women were not doing that. And I said, I'm just going to be the world's best secretary. And he said, well, for God's sake, then go work for an engineering firm. But I didn't. And every job I took, whatever it was, when I worked for Waukesha, Wisconsin, I took classes in internal combustion engine, so I could understand what I was doing and why I was doing it. When I worked for a fertilizer company, I took classes on crop rotation and fertilizer. And I didn't choose either of those companies to work for. They just came to me. I mean, I was out looking for work and they just came to me. And then I got a job with an engineering firm, executive secretary to manufacturing. And in those days, the Royal typewriter, you just had to leave space for the engineers to make their sketches. So I went to junior college and learned how to draft. And then I found out that I'm really good at drafting and it's really freaking easy. And then I found that as they were making their sketches, I was improving their product design. And I was in the right place at the right time. I don't know why or how,
Yeah.
but then I was doing such a great job making sketches. He said, would you like to draw assembly drawings? And I said, oh, sure. And so I did assembly drawings. And then they hired a guy that didn't like women. And he said, I'm going to transfer you to design. Is that okay? And I said, yeah, I love design. And there I met a guy who taught me all about design. And I mean, it's just one thing after another that I didn't go after, but appeared in my life.
Yeah.
And I've loved it. There's some bad things that appeared in my life too that I had to deal with. But my intention all along was to be happy.
Yeah.
Right on.
So you see, you're not alone. Things happen as you are able to surrender. And it's a good example of surrendering because, and one of the big thing is to say yes, right? Because you could have said no, but it's an important factor to say yes and just go on. Because opportunity, and you're grateful for them, they happen.
I just had a thought connection in this dialogue. Carol said she just wanted to be happy. And I went, yeah, I remember that through my college years and whatever. I just want to be happy. And then you have said, if you're happy, you're following your path. So maybe that's really key.
All right.
We wonder about the paths that are given to other people. Like I was doing a lecture once to a group of people. Well, not a lecture really, just a talk. And one of the people, we were talking about love, and this is part of the Course in Miracles. And so this fellow said, then what about Jeffrey Dahmer? And I thought, crap, what about Jeffrey Dahmer? And I said, okay, if we're here to learn love, then maybe Jeffrey's path was here to teach us unconditional love. And that's where I left it. But made me think about that.
Well, in the same vein, I mean, when you're young, you make this kind of thoughts, a decision. I had in my view, I had two directions that I wanted to go. Either I wanted to be a farmer. The only problems that I had is that I didn't have the property, and in Switzerland, to have a property is a whole other ballgame. Or I wanted to make enough money, or have a job to make enough money to be comfortable, to provide what I needed. I didn't want to be a billionaire or whatever. I just wanted to have enough money to have a decent life. Okay, but I made this decision or this intention, set this intention when I was 14, 15. And this has, how do you say, guided me my whole life. Okay, I know I will always have enough money for what I want to do, because it's not a lack that I have. It's an abundance.
Yeah.
If you have lack, well, you will experience lack. Okay.
Somewhere I had the feeling that I would always be okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll have to tell you that one time I was actually threatened with death if I didn't give in to this man who wanted to rape me. And so I gave in. Even so, I just knew that everything was going to be okay, and I don't know why. And I started talking to him about love and about how precious it is and how important it is. And the weird thing is he took me home, and the next day he came and wanted to date me. And I was terrified. I was I was cowering in a corner, and my sister chased him away. But as I say, the knowledge that I'm going to be okay has been with me.
Intentions are extremely powerful, and we don't realize how they are. But it requires to. Well, I didn't write down my intention at 14. I just, how do you say, put it into my head, and this is how it worked. But writing them down is extremely powerful. All right, I think I leave the surrendering topic. I felt it was a good discussion. It is
was a really good discussion.
Is an important issue, and individually, I can't say for all of us, but individually, it really, how do you say, powers your life. And I learned
That's true.
more about surrendering in the last 2 years than I did in the previous 68.
Hmm.
So
Well, thank
Anyway,
you, Eric. Thank you for
you're
bringing
welcome.
us that deep,
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks,
thought-provoking
Eric.
topic. Yeah. Yeah, and thank you all for your comments. And in closing, we're going to hear one of my favorite songs called I Release and I Let Go. And so with that, let's close our service with namaste as we greet each other for this week. And namaste to you all. And just as a reminder, we are an independent spiritual community solely supported by your gifts. And so we'll send out a reminder on our emails of how you can make a donation or a gift to our community to further support our spiritual work in our community. So thank you all.